Hey there, everybody. Happy Monday. This is Robert Trimbath, CTO for AIO Integrations, and we are here doing another episode of In the Queue. This is one of our pre-recorded sessions, and we're going to be talking about a couple things. For the last few months, I'm going to say probably 5 months now, I've been a guest speaker for the Alignable Education Series, and we have been talking about, each time we've talked about ransomware, cybersecurity, ways to protect your businesses, all sorts of things like that. Today, I'm going to be talking a little bit more about what's happening in the news and what's happening with these gangs, and it is literally warfare. I'm going to use this is a great example. It's an article out on Bleeping Computer. By the way, if you don't know about this, is a great site for news and information that is happening in the world of cybersecurity. They'll talk about breaches and some of the things that are happening within the world of cybersecurity. This is one of probably 30 sites that I pull information from and monitor on a regular basis. But I'm going to bring to this article by Lawrence Abrams. Great article. I want to give him credit for this. This was published on May 10th, of course, just a few days ago. And one of the things I like about this is he really goes into detail about what's happening. So Lockbit is one of the probably the most notorious gangs. They are, let's just say that recently, and you're going to see this as we scroll down here, recently FBI and NCA actually revealed the name of the operator of the Lockbit site. And let me get that out of the way there. And they actually took down Lockbit's infrastructure on February 19th. And then here we are in May, and just a few months later, and it went live again last Sunday. And now they're touting new information, new victims. This is something that happens quite often. Basically, they revealed the identity of this person as a 31-year-old Russian national. Don't even ask me to pronounce that. I'm just going to say Dmitry. Since then, Lockbit, they've been on a revenge spree. So they've gone out and leaked another 119 victims, alleged attacks. They've leaked the data from that. One of the big ones that just happened was on Ascension Healthcare, a big healthcare giant. Now, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention because basically the back end, the entire back end system of United Healthcare got attacked a few months ago. And that has been one of the most costly. If you have United Healthcare, you probably know what I'm talking about. They have had problems filling subscriptions, processing insurance payments, all sorts of crazy things. So far, they estimate their losses in business and affected business to be somewhere around 852 million. It's fast approaching $1 billion, and they're still having problems. In fact, it was so bad, to give you an idea how crazy this got. So Alpha V, Black Cat, the gang that actually performed this in conjunction with another actor, what they call a sponsor or a partner, who apparently supplied the information to them in the first place to be able to do this and apparently from one of the employees of Change, and apparently it came from, according to news sources, as most attacks start, it originated with a person, not cracking infrastructure, but a person in which they was not using multi-factor authentication. They gained access to that person's account, and through that got into the network, and then used their tools to basically go in and see how they could hurt them best, and of course take them down. And so all this stuff, in all these things we do, when we talk about when we do these education series, is we just did a series literally last week on Thursday, and we talked about strengthening front lines, about training employees and helping them learn to pay attention more, and doing simulated phishing to teach them in real time what to look out for. I can't even emphasize the strength of this enough, because 9 in 10 breaches are originating with people who aren't doing the things they're supposed to be doing. They're not paying attention. They're not using multi-factor authentication. And I'm not sure why, as an administration standpoint, from an IT side, that should have been forced. They shouldn't have even been allowed to have an account without multi-factor authentication. I mean, you can have it as an option, but you can also force it. And it should have been, I would think, enforced network-wide. Not sure how this person managed to get away with that, since this is such a big healthcare company. It kind of violates HIPAA policy to do that, I believe. And so, anyway, we're seeing a big attack on healthcare systems right now, and hospitals, and to infrastructure. They're really testing the waters really hard now against things that can hurt everyday Americans. I'm just going to summarize a few here that's been happening with the Black Basta, however you want to say that. They've actually, this is really big actually. One of these, Lockbit, says they actually issued a $200 million ransom against Boeing in November. And of course, Boeing just acknowledging this, that is just amazing. And Boeing's been having major problems with quality control and issues, and now they got whistleblowers disappearing and being killed under strange circumstances, which is really odd. But now they've released a huge thing saying they were ransomed for $200 million back in November. We got the Ohio lottery, 538,000 individuals. We have the university system of Georgia affecting over 800,000 people. And, of course, the city of Wichita, this was actually released a little while ago, but we're seeing more and more of this kind of stuff disrupt and go after things. We talked about Alpha V, Black Cat. Those are the guys responsible and behind the big MGM and Caesars Las Vegas attacks as well. So this is just one site to give. Dell got compromised and has exposed information. I mean, I could go over a lot of things, but if you want to go to this site and go up to the news section and look under latest or featured, you can pull up some of this information. Let me go over and hit featured and just see if I can't bring up the main site. I love the ads, IQ test. So we see Dell, we see the talks about Ascension. Google is releasing fixes for more zero-day exploits this year. British Columbia, they're actually investigating cyber attacks on their government networks. I mean, it is really bad right now, and it is not getting any better. We're seeing a non-bank lender in Australia being hit. This is just the stuff off one site. I mean, there's so much of this going around. They're basically estimating this group has breached over 500 organizations worldwide to the effect of over $200 million in ransoms. That's just one group. This is happening more and more, and I cannot emphasize enough. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, I'm not trying to be a doomsayer, but the reason why I'm trying to make you guys aware is these people do not care. They cast very big nets, and they do not care about how big or small you are. All they care about is causing disruption. So my point to you is one, you guys should be exercising a cyber security solution that encompasses a lot of things. And I'm going to go over to our website here. In fact, one of the things we tell people, this is like the biggest misnomer, is antivirus software does nothing to protect you from hackers. They're hacking people. They're not hacking machines, my friends. They are not. They get to your machine secondary, but they get to you. They get into your stuff by hacking you, by hacking your email, by hacking you through phishing. Phishing is responsible, again, 9 out of 10 attacks, and all of them are coming from that. So I'm going to encourage you guys to do. I want to show you guys something real quick, and there's 2 reasons why I'm talking to you today about this. We have released a new cyber defense dashboard that actually does risk assessments for companies, and I don't care if you're 2 people or 5 people or 20 or 100. We do it for all. It's included in our product. We do awareness training. We do both for phishing and for cyber awareness. So we teach people what to look out for, how to exercise zero trust. But one of the things I want to talk about is what is part of a solution. And I'm going to bring up this little graphic here on our screen because I want you to understand that all of this right here is part of the solution. Cybersecurity should include your endpoint monitoring. It includes training. It includes, that's training on, what I mean by that is training your employees, your front line, your offensive line to your company, the people that are out interacting with people outside through the internet on an everyday basis. That's your front line, my friends. Those are like you're in football. Those are the guys trying to prevent the people from getting to your quarterback. The football is your data. The quarterback is the the computer housing that, and you got to train those frontline people to keep them away from that quarterback, and that's how you do it. That's your front line. If you train those guys well, they're going to do a good job of doing that and reduce your risk. Managing the PCs, making sure they're up to date, making sure they're being monitored for processes that shouldn't be running, both by the XDR, what we call it, the end, and that's an extended detection and remediation endpoint protection. Cloud-based backups with persistent storage, which means that we're actually doing encrypted enterprise-level backups to an offsite to a cloud. We use only U.S.-based providers, so everything we're doing is 100% U.S.-based. So it goes to a data center and it is locked in a way that hackers cannot get in and affect your backup. They can't delete it. They can't remove it. They can't go in the software and they can stop it from, they may be able to go in and try and remove it or hamper it, but they can't erase something that's already been done. They can't touch anything that's already there. Also, management of your Microsoft and Google Workplace environments. Setting those up properly, setting up the permissions for those properly, setting up multi-factor authentication and enforcing it. Those are the things that prevent those things from being hacked, because hacking those systems is the front line to get into everything else right now. Most companies are using Google Drive, OneDrive, Teams drives, SharePoint, your email for your company, all stored in those places. And if you don't have your security locked down right and have enforced it correctly, then this is going to be the first place you get hit. And it's going to get hard, and it's going to get in a way that can either put you out of business or cost you a lot of money. The second thing that we just talked about, cyber training, that's part of that first part we talked about, training. And what I mean by cyber training is not just teaching them one time. I'm going to give you a good example of this. I went out to a school district who we did some consulting for recently. And when we were out there, I was sitting right outside the superintendent's office waiting to go see the superintendent and talk to him. And while I was there, I was talking to the superintendent's assistant. And I asked her, I said, so are they doing anything new for cybersecurity this year at the school district level? And she goes, oh, yeah, the state has put out this new thing we have to take, and we have to go listen to this class, watch this class online, and everybody has to do it. And I said, well, great. Did you learn anything? You consider it to be useful? And she goes, no, not really. I was doing my nails. And I just had to sit back and go, wow, did they make you take a test afterwards to kind of make sure you were, retaining? Oh, no, they just monitored to make sure we watched the whole thing. So here we have an example of a state mandated program. And I'm in the state of Texas, which I'm kind of disappointed about because I think they've been pretty proactive. But the school is using a very minimal program, and they're not even making sure people are paying attention to it. They're not making sure they learn or retain anything from it. Again, this is a failure on the school's side to provide adequate training for their employees and their teachers. In our stuff, our training, we have tests. You have to pass with 80% or above, and you fail. And it notifies the manager or the owners of your scores. And that is part of your risk assessment, and it lets the owner and the managers know who the riskiest employees are. And the whole point behind this is to train up and get those defenses up, find out where you're weak and strengthen them. I mean, how can you know where your holes are, where your problems in your offensive line are, if you don't test it? The second part of this is what we call simulated phishing. We go in and we pretend to be other companies. We have a program that allows us to pretend we're hundreds of different companies, from Netflix to FedEx to UPS to Google to Microsoft and so on. Very realistic looking phishing schemes. And the purpose is to try and fool your employees. Let's try and train them on the job. What do you do when you see this? And for the people that we catch that actually do something they're not supposed to, we bring them to a landing site that says, oops, you did something wrong. This is what you did wrong, and this is what a hacker would have gotten from you if you had used this. And we teach the person in real time how to fix that. I can't tell you how valuable this is, because it's a lot easier to teach somebody when they make a mistake at the time the mistake's being made. It's kind of like, I know a lot. I'm a pet owner. I have 3 dogs, okay? One of my dogs is a Labrador mix, and he loves to dig. Now, if any of you got a dog that digs, the hardest thing to do is to go out in the yard after the hole's dug and take the dog out there, point his nose in it, and punish him because he's looking at you like, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't dig that hole. And you're like, of course you did. Well, I didn't. I don't know what you're talking about. They don't remember. They don't know. That's, to them, it's just something they do. And this is what's happening with people. People are so busy doing their job. They're overworked. And what's happening is that they are not paying attention to things they're doing. And the only way to really accurately teach them in a way that they'll remember is to catch them when they're doing it. Teach them as it's happening. And this is what we're doing. So not only do we do the frontline training and teach them how to recognize phishing and what the different attack vectors are and how to recognize those things, and also make them aware of other cyber threats like URL phishing and Google results and other things that can happen. But we also actively train in real time. So we're doing both of those things. And then we make the managers aware of what every employee is doing, or the owners, whoever's monitoring, whoever is the manager of the portal. It can be both or just one. And what happens is it teaches them. It teaches them that, hey, these things are what this is where they're failing. This is where they need to get better at. And so you can strengthen up that offensive line. You can stop them from getting to your data, your quarterback. I'm going to show you guys this right now because I want you to realize how inexpensive this is, okay? If you are a small business right here and you want access to that cyber defense portal, you can just hit subscribe right here. And this will bring up a window where you can actually configure your stuff. And I'm going to show you how to do it. It's very, very simple. You do not change this number. You only need one portal per company. What we provide on this is for the endpoint protection, and we include a $1 million cyber assurance package with this. And I'll show you what that encompasses real quick. So you would actually put, let's say I got 5 people in my company, 5 computers. Okay, I put that in, and there you go. That's your cost, $184 a month. There's no contracts, no setup fees, and that is going to include everything we just talked about. But the other thing it's going to include is this. It is going to include our subscriptions include 200,000 in ransomware business email compromise, 200,000 in compliance failure protection, 100,000 in business loss protection, and 500,000 in cyber legal liability protection. This is included with our product. It is a minimum of 5 licenses in order to get this coverage, but this actually gives you built-in cyber financial protection into that product for $184 a month. Now, I'm going to tell you right now that gives you everything we just talked about in this prior thing right here. You're getting all of this included in that price. And we manage the PC, we provide all this, we'll help provide that, we'll manage the training. And if you want to do support, if you're looking for a company to actually do IT support, choose this option because this is included with this. And then you get unlimited help desk support, and you can add the financial product to it there. So that's a different configuration. But I wanted to show you how reasonable this really is. This is not, and you will get the download links within 5 minutes. You will have that. You can install it on your computers. It's activated. It's pushed out, and you'll get certificate of coverage from Cysurance. It's actually it's underwritten by an actual insurance company called Cysurance, one of the largest providers of cybersecurity insurance in the field. And you're going to be protected at that point. You are protected both on a network and endpoint level. You're going to have training for your employees. We're going to manage your devices for you, make sure they stay up to date and they stay clean. And you're also going to get that financial protection package. So really great deal. If you just want to come in and talk to us about what you can do, let's say you want to do IT, you've got a different mixture of things, you're really not sure about what to do, just hit this Get Protected today, and it's going to come to this page. We're just going to ask you for 3 simple things. Some contact information about who you are, some information about your office, like do you have a server? Is it being backed up? How many computers do you have in your office? And then we have an area that just says, how can we help? In other words, what do you want to talk to us about? Do you have some specific concerns about your business? And this will all go into our system, and it will be assigned out. You're going to get a link to a calendar, to one of the partners' calendars, and it is random depending on who's going in, who's the most available. But it will come in, and you will actually go to a live calendar link once you fill this information out, and you will be able to choose a time to actually go in and set up a free consultation. We give you a free hour, and we will talk to you about your concerns. The training will demo the product for you, show you what it is, what it includes, and take you through the process. Sign you if you want, and you say, yeah, we want to do it. We will sign you up right then and there, and you will have the download links by the end of the meeting. It's that good. It's that fast. We are 100%. We're a veteran-owned and operated company based out of Houston, Texas. We operate in 48 states, and we protect a little over 5,000 endpoints right now. We're not a giant company. We're not professing to be, but we are good at what we do, and we've been doing it for a long time. We've been operating in this sector for small business. We've been managing small business networks for 34 years. And we've got some of the best people on our management team that could ever be put together in a company. We have Robert Thornton, who is our COO. His background was he was a senior vice president for Verizon. We have Kirby Atwood, our president and CEO, comes to us from he was in M&A, comes from Gulf Capital Partners. It was M&A for biotech and oil and gas for nearly 50 years. So we got a tremendous team of people that have put together a wonderful product. And we would love to take you, show you, get a little peek behind the curtains into the intelligence that we have. We actually employ an enterprise SIEM. That's a security, event, and integrity monitoring system that monitors and kind of everything that happens on your computer. If a registry entry gets changed or deleted or removed or added, it will tell us. And it's kind of like a forensic program that gathers information. No, we don't go in and read your files or things like that. We don't have access to your computer to go look at what you're doing. But what it does do is it looks for malicious activity. It uses AI to look for malicious activity, and it will actually quarantine it, let us know, and our cybersecurity professionals then look at it, determine whether it's malicious or not. And once we do, when we blacklist that, it is blacklisted across our entire worldwide network through our providers. So basically it's cloud powered. So if we find something on the other side of the world, you're protected against it. We find it in your network, the rest of the world's protected against it, and vice versa. That shared environment allows us to create a huge protective cloud over our clients. And we think ourselves, we believe ourselves to be very non-interfering. In other words, we really don't interfere with what you do. We don't put up alerts that ask you and say, hey, what do you think we should do with this? We let you know we found something, our people deal with it. And if it's important where we think we have questions about whether you're doing something that's questionable, then our people will reach out to you and say, hey, we're seeing this kind of activity. Is this something you initiated? If it isn't, then we know what to do. But it's already been blocked. It's already been prevented. We haven't let it do, we stop ransomware in less than a second. And the whole point behind this is to prevent, because this is way cheaper. These things are way cheaper to prevent than they are to fix after the problem. Our motto in our business is it's a lot easier to fix the plane before it crashes than it is after. It's a hell of a lot harder to pick the pieces up and put them back together after the plane's already crashed. It's too late. And it will cost most likely your business, because 8 out of 10 businesses, and I'm talking about small businesses, companies under 20 employees that get hit by ransomware, don't recover from it. They just don't. And then they end up with, if they're in any kind of an industry that has compliance like HIPAA or PPI, you can get fined. And those fines translate back to the owners, and they can amount to a lot. That's just not just something, oh, I'm going to go out of business and get out of it. It's kind of like payroll taxes and taxes. They're going to come after you personally. So you have to be prepared. It's more important than ever to be prepared and protected. And what we have spent the last 6 years doing is going out there through sources like Alignable. Alignable.com is a great resource for a small business. If you've never been to it, you should check it out. I can't say enough about it. We actually run a small group through that, and it's called the I got to go find it now because I haven't been to it in a little while. But let me go to the welcome to Alignable. Let's see. Welcome to Houston. Of course, I need to log in. I'm on a browser. I haven't logged in yet. I will have to showcase this on another time. I think you'd be happy to learn about it. I'll go to this Align page here. but it's free to join. There's a network of 9 million businesses, 2 million in Canada, 7 million in the US, and this is not like Alignable, or not like LinkedIn. I apologize. LinkedIn, it will spam you to death. I've got 1,000 C-level executives in my network, none of which I manage their own stuff. And, they very rarely even look at it anymore because it's so spammed. When we go and communicate with other business owners, we actually talk with them. They don't allow you to spam those kind of things or take advantage of those kind of things. So really encourage you to check out alignable.com, learn what it is. I'm an ambassador for the program. I do it as a volunteer. I help run a group alongside Monica Fuss, who's the other ambassador for here out of the Conroe area, and we run the North Houston chapter. We have nearly 2,500 businesses enrolled, small businesses. We do in-person, we do virtual meetings, we do networking with each other where we get to meet and talk to each other about our businesses and help develop partnerships, and this is entirely free. I definitely encourage you to check it out and see how it can help your business. If you'd like, you can message me directly at robert@aiosupport.net. And about anything we talked about today, about Alignable, be happy to answer any of your questions about anything. Thanks for joining us on this edition of In the Queue. We're going to have a live edition next Tuesday at 2 p.m. And it is going to be on what a virtual CTO, a VCTO we call. What is a virtual CTO and how does it benefit your business? Hope to see you there. We got a lot of people registered already. We do one of these every other week. Last week we did one on how hackers hack you, which was a lot of fun. We record these, we put them back up for you to watch afterwards. But it's an interactive session. It's not a sales pitch. This is education. And what we talk about is and we allow you to go in, and it's a Zoom. It's not a webinar. It is a Zoom where we talk about with you your questions, your concerns about your business, and how what we're talking about, our subject matter, relates to your business. So we have a very open forum. We encourage people to have their mics open and have conversations with us about it. So we encourage you to be there. We do one every other week. It's called In the Queue Live. Hope to see you there. Our next topic, like I said, is what are VCTOs, and how do they help your business? So we'll see you then. Thanks for watching In the Queue, and we'll catch you next week.